Hello, how are you doing? I am Dylan. This is All You Can Board. If this is your first time here at the channel at All You Can Board, welcome. We're happy to have you here. If you're returning, if you've been here for a while, if you know our faces, welcome back and welcome to a new kind of video. I haven't done one of these before. This is a solo playthrough of a game I'm pretty excited to play, and that's called Mythwind. And I'm going to tell you right away why I'm excited for it. I'll go over a couple logistics and things before we jump in, and then we're just going to sit back, relax, drink some hot chocolate, and play a solo game of Mythwind. And I think it's gonna be kind of cool, and I think it's gonna be kind of fun. So basically what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create a cinematic playthrough, and that's just something that's just a little bit more stylized, a little bit more intimate, if you want to call it that. I mean intimate because the candles are here, but that's just really fitting the vibe of the game, which I was told is a very relaxing solo game especially. I guess I should mention this is from Open Owl Studios, and I'm going to butcher these one of these names probably because if you've been around this channel for a while, I cannot pronounce anything, no matter what I try. So it's Brendan McCaskill, and I think it's Nathan Lige. It's like, well, there's one of four possibilities, and I'm sure I got it in one of those. So if you can just tell me which one it was, maybe I'll I won't re-edit it. But whichever one it is, I'm really sorry for mispronouncing it. But yeah, that is Mythwind. And if you are not familiar with what Mythwind is, so it is a 1 to 4 player kind of campaign game, but not what you're probably expecting from a campaign game. So there is no ending to this game. There is no no winner to this game. There are no victory points in this game. You play this game until you don't want to play this game anymore, until you feel like you've done everything you can, or you don't want to explore any more of the characters. It is a different kind of board game. The closest thing I could equate it to, if you have played video games, would be Stardew Valley, where you don't really you have some set goals. There are, in the same way, there is a goal card in this game that I'll be trying to accomplish each season, but otherwise you're kind of just off doing your own thing. And there are 4 roles in this game specifically. I'm going to be starting this first session with the Ranger, but they all play completely differently. So the Ranger plays completely differently than the Farmer does, than the Merchant does, and so on. Each of them has their own thing they're trying to accomplish. The way that they benefit Mythwind and end up constructing more buildings and diversifying all the offerings that Mythwind has is done differently for each character. So, and the exciting thing is you can change characters in between each season. Each season is a game session. So a game session is a season that takes place over a variable number of days, and then it'll obviously start in spring, and then afterwards you'll go to summer, and that'll be another game session. And when you do that transition to another season, to another game session, you can change characters. So you can keep changing characters, doing different things, finding ones you really like, or just kind of flip-flopping between them all, so they all are kind of, you're in the variety of changing characters every single season. I've never done a series like this before, and I don't know if this is going to be something that all of you love and you want to see more of, or it's a cool one-off, and then you're like, I've had my fill with that one session, I don't want to see anymore. Maybe you like this video, but you don't need to see 10 plays or 6 play sessions of Mythwind. You want me to do it for another game in the future. Whatever your feedback is, let me know in the comments, because depending on how many people like this video, comments saying they want to see more, and how much positive feedback I get from it, because this type of video is a lot of work, it'll determine if I'm going to make this a long-running series until I'm all Mythwinded out, or whether I'm going to sort of just do a few sessions and kind of create some cool content for it, and then wait for another big game. There's a couple other campaign games that are coming our way soon that I won't talk about in this video, but you'll see on the channel soon enough, that I could also do a series like this with a more stylized cinematic and produced solo playthrough, because I think that is a really fun possibility, and I'm enjoying this whole process, even though it is a lot of work. So all that being said, we are going to jump into Mythwind. I'm going to try to make this as cozy and relaxing and fun for all of you as possible. Game sessions probably don't take very long in Mythwind. From what I've been told, 30 minutes to an hour for each session, each season is probably where the game's going to land. But this is also my first time really doing this, and I'm also doing it on camera. There's a lot of elements, so it could run a little bit longer, but I'm going to try to keep all the sessions in between that time, so they are digestible, and you kind of can not have to feel like it's a huge time investment to sit down with the video from this series. So last thing, before I jump in, I don't want to forget anything. There isn't going to be a rules explanation or how to play tied to this. What I'm going to do is, for this first session, I'm going to sort of teach as I go. So as we go to each phase, so I mentioned there's a variable number of days in each season. Each day is broken into three why can't I remember the name of what the word I'm trying to say? 3 sections, I guess. I can't think of a better word, which is dawn, daytime, and dusk. And so as I go through the steps, I'm going to explain what I'm doing for each of the things that happens in each of those steps. But I'm hoping this will be sort of an easier way to sort of just jump right into this video rather than having to, put a how to play here that's 6 minutes long. People will skip it if they don't want to see it, and then they might not know the rules because they skipped it. I can just do it all as we go. I can keep it really, really easy and accessible, and I think it'll be fun in that way. And plus, I'm just excited to get into this. I'm just eager to get into it, and I don't want to wait anymore, and I'd rather not do the how to play. I'd rather just dive right in and play Mythwind. It's been sitting on my table throughout the holidays. I knew I wanted to wait for my vacation break I had here for my full-time job to be able to sit down and do this, and it's been taunting me sitting on the table that whole time. I'm so excited that I'm finally playing it. So let us get into Mythwind. The very first thing I'm going to do, just to set the mood a little bit, is I'm going to read from this Mythwind town charter. And I'm going to just give you a little bit of a background of what is going on, why we're in Mythwind, and what it is we're trying to do. Rumors of a mythical valley shrouded in mystery have long been whispered in this region. Today, a chance encounter with small magical beings named sprites confirms the existence of this place. These sprites call you to make it your home. The reasons are unclear, but for a struggling settlement of humans, the opportunity is too good to pass up. Fix, the keeper sprite, guides you and your closest companions through the mountain pass that eventually reveals Mythwind Valley. The first sighting of the valley takes your breath away. Its beauty surpasses even the claims of the wildest legends. And to your surprise, there are signs of old foundations and an ancient tower that looms over them. Evidently, you are not the first people to come here. And so it begins. We are going into Mythwind Valley. We've been sort of invited by these sprite characters, and we don't know exactly why, if there's something in it for them or what their ultimate motivation is here, but we just know it is beautiful. There is no reason not to take them up on their offer. We're a ranger. We want to go and explore these brand new lands, so it makes a lot of sense, and we're just going to jump right in. As I mentioned, this is the ranger, so I do have my special little miniature here that is going to, I'm trying to show it to like multiple cameras at the same time, like which one am I going to use in the editing process. The ranger, I'm going to flip this over now. I should say each character has their own unique little section up top here. I guess it's the entire thing for the ranger. This is for a specific action that comes into play during daytime, which is called Improved Town, I believe. And these costs for all the resources that you'll find here on the board are different per character. Each character has something they sort of specialize in. So production costs me 5 gold, whereas income costs me 15. That's where the hardest thing for me to be able to afford to pay in the Improve Town feature. Also, very unique to the Ranger. The Ranger is the only character out of the 4 that has an option to not spend their day in town. So normally all the town daytime actions are happening in Mythwind Valley. You're doing things here in the valley, whether that's farming, selling goods, building buildings, but the ranger specifically actually is able to go out on expeditions and explore. And so that's why there's this sort of dichotomy here of town versus expedition at the top. Depending on when I go to the daytime phase, if I'm going to go stay in town, I'm going to put this on the town side, and I'm going to take all my town actions. Whereas if I do an expedition, I'm going to go on an expedition. It could be multiple days to finish that expedition. We're going to engage with some of these expedition cards here, and we're going to leave Mythwind Valley, and we're going to go see what we can find. So Ranger's a unique character. That's why I kind of decided to start with the Ranger. It's it felt like that was the right character with like exploration, and in the same way that I'm uncovering and exploring this game, I am going to be exploring in and around Mythwind Valley. So as I said, I know you don't know any of the rules, but I'm going to explain as I go through all these phases. Just a couple more things you need to know before we really dive in so that you understand some of the iconography. This is Mythwind Valley. All these spots that you see here are all the areas that I can eventually remove the cards for and be able to open up spots that I can build buildings. We start with just the longhouse. That is the starting building for every character in the game. That's the building you always start with. As we put more buildings in our queue to be able to build, they're going to get added to the right side of the board here. This is the building queue. Different buildings start at different numbers in the queue. As they go up, when they get closer and closer to being completed, when they pass number 1 or when they're in the number 1 spot and would need to go another spot lower, they then get built and added into Mythwind Valley. So that's one of the processes we're going to be doing. Other than that, there are going to be different town actions and different character actions that are specific to characters, as well as all the town actions that are general to all characters that play in the game. I'll explain those as we go. Okay, let's kick it off. We are going into Mythwind Valley. We're starting with the very first phase of the game, which is, of course, dawn. And the first thing we do with the dawn phase is we determine weather. So every day is going to have different weather, and that weather can potentially impact us as we go forward. Different characters it impacts in different ways. It'll affect us on some of our expeditions compared to the farmer. It'll affect how the farmer is trying to plant their crops. So the current season we're in is spring. That's indicated by this card here. We see the little spring icon at the top here. All of these sections underneath that you see, as we flip over weather cards, those weather cards are going to stay face up on the table, and we're going to keep adding them, adding future weather cards for future days on top so that we can always see the symbols on the top of all the cards. Those symbols are going to correlate to all the icons you see here. If ever we have a section of 3 in a row that matches the 3 in the row top to bottom, as you see here, we're going to get a bonus weather effect. So for instance, if we had cloudy weather, then sunny weather, then cloudy weather again, then we'd get this bonus effect, which is going to move a building up the queue. That's what that icon means. And I'll explain iconography as we go so that you understand some things, but anything you see here, like moving food down or moving production up, all happens on these tracks here. These are the 4 resources in the game. We have culture, income, production, and food. All of these actually begin at 1, which I hadn't done yet. So I'm going to move them all up. So we have culture at 1, we got income at 1, we got production at 1. I'm calling it production. I think it's called production. I should double check that, because it was the hardest thing for me in this video was accepting the fact that I need to call things by what they actually are called, because normally I would just say move the red resource up. I don't normally, even though I know that's a travesty, I should get really involved in the theme. I don't get nearly as involved as I should. I checked it. It is production. So we have culture, income, production, and food. So we're going to check weather. That's the first thing we're going to do. We're going to determine weather. So that is the weather card, but now we actually have to flip a card from the weather deck. So I have this deck of cards here that you can't see. It's just off camera, but this is the weather deck here, okay? So the weather deck, I probably shouldn't have done it because I could have seen the card on the bottom, but I wasn't looking, I swear. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to flip over the top card of the weather deck, and we're going to put it here on the table. And we've got rain. We've got rain. Okay, so we're starting with rain. If we get rain 2 more days in a row, it's going to mean our food production goes down. Let's take that rain card, and we're just going to put it right over here. We're going to move some of these fancy little petals I put out here for aesthetics. We're going to put that right there, just to indicate that we currently have rain. It is raining. Next thing you know, we're going to do is we're going to check the season effect. So there is no season effect because we would need to have 3 season cards out to even potentially have that happen. So we can skip the season effect section. Now we're going to resolve the actual weather effect. So some weather cards would have a weather effect on them. We happen to get a card that's just plain rain. There is no other weather effect. There are things that could have come up in that weather deck, but we are just going to start with plain old rain, nothing fancy. It's raining for our first day as a ranger in Mythwind Valley. That would normally be the end of the dawn phase, but because we're playing ranger, we now have to choose if we are going to go to town for our daytime phase or go on an expedition. So we are a ranger. I think we can't spend our first day going to town. That's just not the ranger way. It doesn't sound ranger-esque to me. Eventually we're going to have to go to town. We're going to have to sell things. We're going to have to upgrade things. Right now, I think we need to start things off with a good old expedition. So I'm going to take my little stand, I was going to say standee. This is not a standee. This is a full miniature that is unpainted because I'm not good at painting. But we are going to take it and we're going to put it right here. And we're going to declare that we are going on an expedition. So this is going to be fun and hopefully not punishing. I don't want to get punished this early. I'm going to take my initial starting roll, push it down here. This right here, I should mention really quickly, these cards next to this part of my board here, it says right here, it might not be super visible because it's very small writing, but it says stock. So a big thing with the ranger is the ranger has cards, items and goods in their stock, but they also have their inventory, and their inventory is the number they can actually bring with them on expedition. So I start with an inventory of 4. The max I can possibly get is an inventory of 10, and that means that if I had more than 4 cards in my stock, I would only be able to bring 4 in the expedition. You have to, we're getting to that right now where you have to line them up in a certain way. So there's some strategy involved in how you choose them. Right now we start with 1 of each type of tool. So this is the tool sides of the card, and the tools usually produce the goods that are on the other side of the card. So you'll have a tool like an axe, for instance, and if you flip that axe to the other side, it's the good side, which is wood, because you use the axe to chop wood. So a lot of times that's how it's going to work when we start with a tool of each type. Minus the special purple one that I can't remember the name of right now, but we do start with the other 4, which I believe are compasses, axes, traps, and rifles. So we are going on an expedition. The first thing we need to do to determine what that expedition is going to look like is we have to look at our expedition length card here. So there are 5 different expeditions that we can go on. And they are light, short, medium, long, and grueling. I can tell you one thing, we're not going on a grueling expedition to start this off. Maybe that's a future video, to start in Mythwind with a grueling expedition, but that is not going to happen today. I think we're going to keep things real light, because I've never played this game, and we're just, going with the flow here, rolling with the punches. We're going to go on a light expedition. That means we have to take 2 level 1 expedition cards and 1 level 2 expedition card. We're going to shuffle them together and then lay them out in a row. I'm going to do that right here in a second. Move this down. These are the expedition cards here. I've already shuffled them. I'm going to take 1 from level 2 from level 1, sorry, and then 1 from level 2. We're going to give this a good old shuffle. Okay, and now I know my stock is supposed to go right here beside my board, but just in the interest of having extra space, that's my stock. I'm going to leave that there for a second, and we're just going to do this because I just want to make sure that everything gets picked up on camera. So, oh, look at that. It actually worked out that it's level 1, and then level 2. We're actually going in priority order here. These little flower petals are now just a nuisance. They're just everywhere. It was a great idea until I don't want them around anymore. Okay. So this is our 3 expedition line here. That is the length of our expedition. We have to engage with this expedition from left to right. All right, now that we've shuffled the expedition cards, we have them in our order, we have to take our miniature, and we are going to start on level 1 of this expedition, and we are going to venture left to right, as I mentioned, until we either fail, which is probably not going to happen, because we don't fail in Mythwind, okay? We are only going to succeed in expeditions anytime I play this. We are going to either fail, which won't happen, or we're going to succeed. And we are going to go through the entire expedition until one of those happens. The next thing we have to do is we have to manage our inventory. This one's really easy right now because we only have 4 cards, 4 tools, and we are allowed 4. So we are going to say that we are taking all 4 of these on the expedition with us because why not? I don't want to fail this expedition. I'm going to bring out everything I possibly can. What we're going to do is I'm going to put the ranger above here. We are going to order these cards in any order we want, left to right, and the order is going to matter because they are going to take effect left to right as different things come up in the expeditions. Now you get a hint on each expedition card on which tool specifically might help you on that expedition. So for instance, we saw in expedition 1, I'm going to probably want an axe. So I'm probably going to put the axe furthest to the left here because right away it's saying we need that. Now next it's saying that the next expedition we need a rifle. So I could just go like this and I could do the compass last, and then maybe I need the trap, maybe I don't. But it's possible I could need the trap somewhere in here, and I will have abilities eventually that can come into play where I can rearrange this after I've seen what's on the expedition cards. But to start, I kind of have to just go on my own. So I think to be safe, I just kind of want to do this, and then I can put the trap at the end, but do I want to get a little crafty and put it in here? No, you know what, let's not get crafty. Let's just go with it. Let's just go with it. I don't know what's on these cards. Let's try doing this. We're going to order this left to right as so. Okay, so we have managed our inventory. We've prepared what we're going to take with us on the expedition. It's time to reveal the expedition cards. Let's go on the expedition. Phase 1. All right, so this is called Keep Looking. Now let me explain keep looking at this card while I explain what you're looking at. Okay, so in the top left here is going to be the potential weather effect. So every one of these expedition cards is going to show a weather icon. If our weather is currently the same as that icon, I'm going to get a bonus usually from this weather effect. So in this case, it's raining. It needed it to be cloudy for me to get that bonus. It doesn't take effect. If it had, we would have taken another rifle from the decks here. We would have added it to the end of this row. But because it's not cloudy, unfortunately, we do not get to add that. So what you're looking at here are the 3 phases to the expedition. Like all the things we're looking at here, they all go left to right. So I have to complete the first leftmost one, and only then can I move on to the second and then the third of this expedition. That entirely will complete this first expedition card. So it's pretty simple. What you want to do is you need to spend what is listed at the top here. In this case, I need to spend an axe for this first expedition, and I will then get the reward that has the check mark on it. If I wasn't able to fulfill the condition, there's a fail. In this case, the fail would have been me getting attacked. So in this case, I do have the axe, so I can successfully explore this first phase of the expedition. So each of these columns, just so you know, are called encounters. So normally the first thing we would do is we check if there are any preparation icons. A preparation icon is one that doesn't have a check mark or an X. It has one of these little dots on it. I won't explain exactly what preparation does until we get to that phase, because it'll just be easier to kind of go through it as I explain it. But that would be the first thing you would check for, is are you prepared for this exploration phase, for this exploration column, and if you are, then you get an extra bonus. There's no preparation outcome for this one, so I don't have to worry about that. No preparation to resolve. So we have to decide whether we're going to pay the cost, and obviously we're going to pay the cost. So we're going to keep on looking. We're going to pay with this axe. We're going to discard it over here for now, just so I know what I've discarded. It's gone, and we are successful. And what do we get? What does that icon with the check mark mean? Well, that is a rearrange icon. What that means is we can take 2 cards in our row here and rearrange them to new positions, now having the information we know from what's on the expedition card. What I'm going to do is, I guess if it wants that to be in the third, so there's really nothing I can do here to benefit anything, because this isn't going to come up at all. The compass needs to be, or no, it's just the preparation for the trap in third spot. So I'm just going to leave this as it is. I don't think I have to do anything here. So I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to use my rearrange. Hey, it's editor Dylan here, reviewing the footage from past Dylan. One of the key mistakes he made here, and I think I make this mistake, I don't make this mistake, he makes this mistake a couple different times. If you look at this card here and this card here, I actually could have used the reward I got from the first encounter and switched those cards, and then I would have had the compass in the third position, which would have led to me getting that bonus trap in the third encounter of this card. Likewise, when I gain goods, the goods are supposed to stay in the inventory if they are for that card. Like if I'm just flipping that card over because I gained a good, for instance, using the compass to gain a map, using the trap to gain a fur, that should stay in that position in the inventory. And I believe throughout the entire video, I take those out and separate them from the tools. That should actually stay in that line. So that's something I'll correct in the future. But there is a play I just completely missed here that would have been really, really solid, which would have involved me moving the trap to the second position. There's no bonus there, but I would have gained a fur that stayed in that second position. Then in the third position, I would have got the bonus of the extra trap, and I would have gained a map, which would have put me in a way better position. Didn't see those things. First time playing Mythwind. I'll be better in the future. Sorry, past Dylan will be better in the future. And that means that we move on to the next exploration column here. And we're going to try to continue on this expedition and see if we can make it through everything. So you kind of see how the flow goes for a ranger, a daytime phase, when he decides to go out on an expedition. All right, so let's move on to the next one. The next one, I need a trap. Pretty simple, I have a trap. I'm just gonna cash this in, and we actually get a fur for the trap, so we can just turn this around, and we've now gained a fur for our stock. So I'm just gonna put that right down here. We now have a fur in our stock. We could use that for different things in town. Really, really good. Last thing we need to do is we need to fulfill the compass requirement, and if we had another trap, we could have done some fanciness, but all I'm gonna be able to do is take this compass, spend it to flip it over to the map side. We've gained a map, and we've preserved our rifle. And we have now completed this leg of the expedition. And that means that it's time to rest. We can't go through all the cards in one day. We need to rest in between them. We finished the final encounter here. This card is done. We are heading over to the second card right there. Now we head to dusk. So normally there would be a phase and some actions we would take here. Mainly we'd be taking any dice that have been placed, any workers that have been placed, and returning them to the dice well here on the character board. If there's at least one pip showing on them, if they were blank, we would re-roll them and put them on the tower over here, and we have to reacquire those going back to town. Workers are all these colored dice here, so we have a bunch more in the tray. Orange ones are villagers, and the blue ones are sprites. That'll come into play when we get into some of the town actions, and it could come into play here actually, but for now, all you have to know is that blue are sprites and orange are villagers. So we actually headed right back into the dawn phase, and that means we have to determine what the weather for the next day is, which is going to determine if we get any bonuses on our next expedition. So let's pull another weather card here and see what we get. We've got Ooh, it's cloudy. Well, we need clouds on the first day. So cloud is heading onto here, and normally they just get you to put it underneath, but because I'm fighting table space here, I'm actually just going to take these weather cards and put them like this, and we're just going to have them going left to right as well. So right now we have a cloudy day as we head into the next expedition, and we finally have I say finally, we've pulled 2 cards. We have an event icon. So this icon right here means we have to pull an event card. This is our first event card, very exciting. And I don't know what any of them have on them. It only instructs me to put specific ones here, and I think you add more as you go where different things happen. So event number 1, here we go. More locals. A sudden crashing sound booms across the town. At the source of the commotion is a pile of wood set aside for construction that has collapsed. Trapped underneath it is a panicked-looking creator sprite. It cries out, "Help! I was only trying to tidy up the pile." Why did I give that an Irish accent? I guess these sprites are Irish. The terrified sprite is carefully freed and gives thanks before embarrassedly scurrying back into the forest. Read event 2 immediately. The creator sprite that was freed from under the woodpile returns to town. He introduces himself as Punk and takes your group into the forest where there is a gathering of many unfamiliar sprites. You overhear them talking about your town, occasionally in a surly tone. Once they notice your presence, however, they scatter and hide in the greenery. Punk looks embarrassed and scurries away as well. How odd. Perhaps they got shy. Shuffle in events 3 and 146. So we're going to add some new events to the event deck. These 2 are gone. They are no longer used. You can just put them right over here. And we get events 3 and 146. So I'm going to shuffle those in right now. So we've got a creator sprite friend named Punk who clearly wanted to introduce us to his friends or his family or his group of other sprites, and they wanted nothing to do with us, and he was pretty embarrassed about it. So I imagine that storyline will continue, and we'll find out exactly why they're scared of us. Maybe we can alleviate some of those fears, and maybe we can become best friends with Punk, because that's already my goal. I just want to become best friends with Punk, because he sounds Irish and his name's Punk. All right, so we are now going to the daytime phase. We are currently on an expedition. So what that means is we just continue the expedition. Normally we start by like doing the shuffling of cards and a whole bunch of things. When you're already on an expedition, you just continue it until it is complete. So this one will specifically take us 3 days to complete, unless there's any specific special cards that come up later in the game that advances these quicker. But if we just went through them like this, it would take us 3 days currently. So we are on an expedition 2, which is still a level 1 card, and we are going to flip that over and see what it says. And it is cloudy for the bonus, so we actually are going to get to utilize this bonus, and that means adding one of these cards to the pack. All right, so we've gained our progress card here, and we gained that for the weather effect because it is in fact cloudy, and that means we're going to set off into the next part of the expedition, which is setting traps. And the very first encounter we have is we need to have a rifle. And not only that, but if we have the rifle in the very first slot, we're going to get an additional fur. And guess what? We do have the rifle in the first slot. Super lucky there. So now we are going to spend that rifle. We are not going to get what's on the back of it. We are just going to lose that card completely. We're left with just a progress card. But we do get to gain another fur. We've successfully got another fur. And this icon, thankfully, is craft any tool. So now we get to craft any tool you want. Hey, it's Editor Dylan here again. Just pointing out another one of past Dylan's mistakes, and that is that icon, that bonus, is not actually craft any tool. It is discard 2 of your current tools in your inventory in order to craft a tool of any kind that you want, and then insert that anywhere into your line of cards there. So I actually gave myself an extra benefit here just by taking a tool without discarding any. But given the fact that I screwed up on the previous one and I should have benefited more previously, it just kind of offsets off. So we'll just ignore it again. There's no winner in this game. There's no victory points. So we'll just pretend this didn't happen, and I will forget the fact that I took some added benefits here that I shouldn't have taken. And we are clearly not in possession of an axe or a trap. We are not going to be able to get both. So we're going to, you know what? No, we can. What am I talking about? We can take this axe and we can put it here. Oh, but it's not going to be in the, oh, it is going to be in the right position. Wow, this worked out really, really well. So we have got ourselves an axe that we've crafted with this first set of the encounter. We're heading off to the second set of the encounter, which now requires an axe. But not only that, if the axe is in the second position, for this preparation, which it is, we are prepared and we'll get a trap. And it is, which means that we get ourselves a trap, which is something we sorely needed for the next stage here. We are gonna have to spend this axe. We are gonna get ourselves some wood. We chopped some wood. We're getting tons of goods here, which is great. And now we have ourselves a progress card and a trap card as we head to the third part of the expedition, which requires a trap. We have it, and if we have it, we get to flip it over and get another fur. We've got 3 furs, a map, and some wood. This is a really successful expedition. We're getting tons of resources, which we're gonna be able to bring back to town and do some really fun stuff with. And that ends the expedition. So we are gonna head on over to the final stage, which is gonna be a level 2. It's gonna be harder, and I don't think we're gonna, I don't know if we're gonna successfully make it out because we only have one single card left. We're gonna have to have this really play in our favor. Otherwise, I think we're probably gonna get exhausted here. But we're doing good. We're doing good so far with this expedition. Head into the dusk phase again because we're on the expedition. Not a lot going on in the dusk phase, so we are basically just resting. We head on to the next day, and that means it's time to check a new weather card. Now we have rain and cloud, which there is no section that goes rain cloud, so we're not in close to hitting any sort of benefits there. But we are going to flip another weather card and see what we get, and we got ourselves more rain. And we would have moved a building up the queue here, but we haven't built anything yet because we're busy exploring on an expedition. So nothing there. We do get rain again though. And now we're flipping over this last expedition card. Now a rain bonus that gives us a tool would be really, really nice right now. Let's see what we get. It is a rain bonus that gets us a tool. Are you kidding me? That people are gonna think that was scripted. People are gonna think that I planned that and put that here. That was completely by chance, and that is so good. So we specifically, I just wanna double check what that icon specifically means. This is the face of realizing you don't get a tool from that icon. In fact, it lengthens your journey. That is what that card means. It means you take a level 1 expedition card and you lengthen the expedition, which is really, really bad because it was bad enough. We were not going to get through this, and now we're definitely not going to get through this. So we're on to a lookout. The very first thing we need is a compass. We don't have a compass. So unfortunately, we did fail, and we are out of cards now. That doesn't mean we're out yet. We're about to be, but spoiler alert. But normally what would happen is if you have to discard and you can't discard, there's no items left in your inventory, then you'd exhaust. So if, for instance, I had the die that is required here, which is a sprite die in my well, and I was able to keep going, I might be able to keep going, gain a compass, and then use on the next one and continue this expedition. Unfortunately, that's not going to be the case because now I am out of this. I don't have any workers, so I can't fulfill this, and I get exhausted. We don't make it through the expedition. We did make it to, I was going to say the final one, but it wasn't the final one because we had to add this card. But we know that this is just, we never even flipped over. I'm just going to put that right back over here on this deck because we never even used it. So we are unfortunately exhausted. Now it doesn't sound, it's not as bad as it sounds. We still get to keep all the lovely goods that we acquired, which is the biggest reason for going exploring because we're going to cash those back in town. So we've got ourselves 3 fur, 1 map, and 1 bunch of wood, bunch of logs. And that just means that we get exhausted and we have to go back to town. So we go back to town. We are now in town. These all get shuffled back into these decks, which I will do right now. And then, of course, we head to the dusk phase. And the dusk phase, we have nothing that we need to do with that because we don't have any dice that we've spent that we need to re-roll. We've already returned our character to town, so we are just heading out into the next day, which means it's time to draw another weather card and position the weather cards way up there so you can actually see them. Let's find out what the weather is going to be like on day 4 of spring. We've got ourselves a sunny day, but another effect that we can't use because we don't have any buildings here. We need to get some buildings in the construction queue so we can start benefiting from some of these. I think that's one of our goals here in town is to spend some time getting some other things besides the longhouse into this queue. And the longhouse didn't even start in the queue. It just started on the board. We need to just get this queue active. So we have our weather. We don't have any weather effect now, but we are 1 away from triggering something. So if you see here, we have rain, and then we have sun, and if we get cloud next, we're going to fulfill the conditions for this last one, and it'll mean that our production is going to go up, which would be perfect. So let's see if that happens. We are ready to head to daytime town phase. So again, this is the only character that has 2 different daytime phases. One as an expedition, one as a town. I am going to stay in town because I have literally no tools. There's no reason for me to go on an expedition. I would fail miserably. I might get super lucky and get like 1 thing. It would be a waste of everybody's time. So we are heading to town, which means you're going to learn a whole bunch of mechanics that will apply for all the characters because the town actions are spread across all the characters. The first thing we're going to do is town actions, then we're going to do character-specific actions that are unique to the ranger, then we go into the dusk phase that you've already seen me go into, but there'll be some other things that happen there. So what can I do during the town phase? Well, there's a few things and they're spread out around the board here. You'll see all these different icons on the board. All of these icons are things that I can do during the town phase. So the first one we're going to start with that I could choose is this one right here, which is adventure. And this is the one that's probably the most exciting to me. So if I choose to go on an adventure, I'm going to take the first adventure card from this adventure deck that's mysteriously under this little cover here, and that was put together and shuffled before this game started during my setup. I'm going to take that first card and I'm going to read it aloud and go on, see where the adventure takes me. The front side's going to be the adventure, and then the back side's going to give me the outcome depending on which choice I go with on the first side. There's also going to be icons on those results on the back side. They either have the villager icon or the sprite icon. Now this is something called alignment. This is one mechanic that I haven't yet talked about in Mythwind. You'll notice that a lot of these actions have different symbols in the bottom right corner of them. Whatever symbol is there, whether it's the villagers or whether it's the sprites or whether it's a sort of a slash, you can choose either one. That means that taking that action aligns you with that faction. And being aligned with the villagers or being aligned with the sprites limits some of the things you can do, but also gives you more opportunities to do other things depending on which faction you're aligned with. They both do different things, both have different benefits. So if you go on an adventure, the outcome of that adventure is going to determine your alignment. That's why it says it could be either one. Sometimes you'll get a choice, sometimes it'll tell you that that outcome has aligned you with one or the other, and that'll sort of dictate what else you're going to do in town. The next action that I could take is this one down here, and that is the improve town or discover land action. So two options I can do there. If I take that action, I can refer to the top of my board here and I can spend an equivalent amount of gold coins to gain one of those resources increased here. Right now I only have 10 coins, so even the cheapest one is half my coins just to put my production up. If I see something that needs my production up to be able to accomplish it, I might do that, but I'm not leaning heavily towards doing that. The other one is discover land. Discover land is I can pay 5 coins to remove one of these little patches of grass and free up a spot on the board that I can build in. As of right now, I have nowhere I can build. Every spot needs to be cleared. So I can pick one of these wherever I want and I can start freeing up spot to build buildings, which sounds really attractive to me because I do want to get buildings, like I said, into this building queue. The next action I could take is construct or demolish. So this is one I'm obviously going to be interested in. I've alluded to it. This little spot right over here, this one allows me to construct or demolish. So if I go there, I can choose any one of the buildings that I want from here, but there are some prerequisites. There's things that are locking me out of some of them, but there's a nice healthy deck of different types of buildings here that I can build into Mythwind and start to, create Mythwind and make it my own, so to speak. There is a tech tree, believe it or not, in this book that sort of links and shows what everything builds into, like what the prerequisites and stuff are. So, if you look here, which I don't know how well this is going to show up here, but this is sort of the tech tree. So we start with the longhouse, and then because of prerequisites and things, when they become available at different levels, everything kind of spans into all different ways I can go. And there's no right or wrong, I don't think. I think it's kind of whatever I want to do with Mythwind. So the two options I believe I have right now, if I wanted to build, are the general store and the trading post. So the general store requires a longhouse, and the trading post itself also requires a longhouse. So that's the only two I can build right now. Both are pretty good. I think that's probably gonna be something I'm gonna be wanting to do. And these, I'm just gonna keep this stack of buildings right over here so I have it nice within reach. The other thing is demolish, so that won't come into play until later, but if I had already built a building, I could demolish it, take it out if I want to replace it with something else, for instance, or I don't think I need that building anymore. The final board action I can take is to hire. This is an important one. As we noticed when I went on my expedition, I didn't have any workers, and so I wasn't able to fulfill one of the objectives on one of the encounters. To be able to acquire these dice, which are the workers, I need to go here to hire. Now you can hire 1 worker for 2 coins, or you can hire 2 workers for 5 coins. For some reason, the second worker costs more. I don't like it, but that's the way it works. So the pips that are on here were determined at the start of the game. I rolled setup 1 for each die. That's what we ended up with, which means this is a really good sprite die. This is a not so great villager die. So if I go there, I can spend some coins, take them exactly as they are, add them into my character dice well, and then I'll be able to use those for town actions. I'll be able to use those for expeditions, a few different uses, and whichever die I buy, that's which faction I will be aligned with. So if I buy the sprite die, I'll be aligned with the sprites. If I buy the villager die, I'll be aligned with the villagers. The final action you can do are specific building actions. So you'll notice that buildings actually have an action on them. So I could go here with my ranger, and I could take an action that is actually to gain a single coin or to gain one of my skill tiles. Now, there are skill tiles in this game. Underneath here are all these potential skill tiles, which I can bring out now. I was trying not to complicate the setup, but there is a whole bunch of them under here. And all of them have different costs, but they all give me different benefits. Now, the way that these work is when you acquire a skill tile, let's just take one that's really simple to look at so that it doesn't look too complicated. Can I find one? Maybe not. Sure, let's do this one. If this skill tile was, if I purchase a skill tile, I can put it into one of these slots. And then as we get to the ranger actions and you see why I would be placing dice into these little specific actions here, it will potentially trigger my my special abilities that I've unlocked. So I want to kind of position these in a way that utilizes them depending on what I think I'm going to accomplish that day in town, what my goals are of the character altogether, and sort of where my energy is going to be spent with some of these workers in the time, in the foreseeable future. So I'm going to put this little stack of skills here. I'm going to want to acquire one sometime soon. I don't know that it'll be today, but we are going to want to acquire them. Actually, I'll put them up over here. Just they're out of the way. And so yeah, using building actions. I only have the longbows for now. As I acquire more buildings, there'll be more spaces I can go to and more I can do in town. So there's a few things I want to do here. I don't know if there's a right or wrong way to start. I really want to clear one of these spaces to be able to start building buildings. I think that having more building actions and starting to expand Mythwind sounds super exciting to me. That's something I want to do. I also want to acquire these dice. I'd have to go higher for those. I want to go on an adventure, but I can only do one town action each day, and then you also do a specific unique character action as well. So can't do it all. You know what? I think the first thing I'm going to do, I would have to construct as well. How can I resist the allure of an adventure? I have to go on an adventure. We must adventure, take in the ranger on an adventure. Let's have some fun. All right, we're going on an adventure. We are pulling from the shuffled deck the very first card here. Here we go. Lounging by the seaside, you spot a grotto partially submerged in the tide. Exploring it, you see a scattered pile of goods. Looks like someone's pack washed up here. There's also a submerged tunnel nearby. You could swim it, but the tide is rising. A, search the goods and leave with your findings before the tide comes. Or B, push your luck and swim into the submerged tunnel. Ooh. I mean, if this was a vote, choose by collective or choose by voting here, I'm pretty sure all of you out there would want me to take the risk and push my luck and go swim. But I really want to accomplish a lot here. I'm not willing to be risky quite yet. I think I'll get riskier as I go. I think I'm going to play it safe. I'm going to search the goods and leave with your findings before the tide comes. Hopefully I can get something out of this and then just carry on. We'll get riskier as things go. Let's keep things safe. You find some goodies and escape well ahead of the tide. Gain 3 gold. Well, I was hoping for a little bit more than 3 gold, to be honest. I was hoping that there was going to be some other things I could use in there, but unfortunately not. I'm going to resist the allure of reading what the other one says because thematically I just don't want to know. I think I shouldn't know what's on the other one. So we have our 3 gold, we've left before the tide, and we don't know what else could have happened. This card is removed from the game. That is it. It's gone. And now we're gaining our 3 gold into the supply here. There we are. I'm actually going to do a little bank exchange here. 5, 4, 5. So we've got 13 gold now, which is really good because I'm sure we're going to want to spend it soon. That is our town action, and it did say on that card that we are aligned with the villagers. So that will come into play for our ranger phase. There's certain actions we can only choose now, but we are aligned with the villagers. We didn't have a choice there. That's what the result gave us. Now it's time to go into the character-specific action. All right, so moving on to the ranger character action, which actually features several things. It's not just one we're going to get here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is increase my stock. That's the first part of the character actions for the ranger. Increasing stock means I get to choose any one of the 6 available cards here. There's 6 because the other side of the progress ones have a backpack one. I can choose any one to add it to my stock. Now, I do have to keep in mind that what I'm aligned with, which is either the villagers or the sprite, limits what I can choose. If I was aligned with the sprites, I could choose these top 3, but because I'm aligned with the villagers, I have to choose one of these bottom 3. On top of that, whichever row I'm going to commit to is going to get me different actions on the equivalent row here. So because I have a bunch of furs, I'm pretty inclined to get the trap going here and start to cash in these furs for other things. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a trap card. Let's do that. Boom. Taking the trap card, we are aligning ourselves, we already aligned with the villagers. We're committing to that bottom row here. So now we're going to use items, and again, we're going to follow the row from what we actually gained, which was the tool, and now we're going to be able to do one or both of these actions. And the first one is I can cash in one of my furs to get 4 coins. The other one is I can cash in a fur and a tool of any kind to get 2 tools of any kind I want, which is really, really good. So I'm actually going to do both of these. So I'm going to cash in a fur like so. I'm going to take 4 gold, which is just great. I have tons of gold. I got to start spending it on something. And then I'm also going to do this one. So I'm going to cash in this fur and a tool of any kind, which is the one I just gained, to gain 2 tools of any kind. And now with that, I'm going to take a trap back, and then I think I'm also going to take a rifle. Yeah, let's do progress. Let's do progress. Why not? Okay, boom. So the last thing that would normally happen here are worker actions. If I had any dice here, I'd be able to now place those dice into these little wells here and get additional cards, additional items for my stock to be able to set myself up for expeditions. Now, maybe what I should have done is gone and recruited workers first on the first day before I did this. But I'm not optimizing here. This is my first time playing Mythwind. We're just having fun. We're enjoying it. We're gonna get better as we go, and then we'll be crafting all kinds of things and building buildings all over the land. It's gonna get there. So unfortunately, that's gonna be it for my character actions. So now we're moving on to the dusk phase. And in the dusk phase, we're gonna take our character. He's gonna come right on back here and go to sleep on our board. He hasn't decided if he's going to the town or expedition tomorrow. And then we're also going to return any dice, which we don't have any, so there's nothing else we have to return. We're going to head into dawn, and we're going to draw another weather card. We're getting quickly through the deck here. I should have mentioned, if I didn't already, when we draw through the entire weather deck, the season ends, and that means this session ends. So next one's going to be cloudy, and we're drawing an event card. So, oh, and not only that, we also got the weather action bonus here. So because we got rainy, sunny, and cloudy in a row, you'll notice here that gives us 1 production. So our production goes up. That is huge. I think we actually specifically need a production for some of the stuff we want to do. So that's great. Now we're drawing ourselves an event card. So we shuffled this earlier. We have a new event card. This is called About the Tribes. Fix greets your group and apologizes for the confusion with Ponk in the forest. He got overly keen. We sprites are secretive and don't warm to outsiders easily. Fix taps herself on the chest. Well, not all of us. Sorry for not warning you. She then explains that there are 6 sprite tribes, of whom some have uncertainties about humans being here. Fix suggests you find a way to show them your good intentions. Shuffle in events 4 to 7. So there are 6 sprite tribes that we need to woo, that we need to convince that we're here for good reasons. We're going to add in some new events for them, and we're going to slowly uncover them as we go. So I'm going to shuffle those in right now. And we also have that previous event that we shuffled in before, which is I think 146 or 147. So that still can come up as well, but we've now shuffled a whole bunch of new ones in there. That's our event card. We are now heading to daytime, and daytime is going to be, I guess, in dawn. I still have to decide which way I'm doing. There's no way I'm going on an expedition yet. I am not properly prepared for that, so I'm staying in town. We're going to do a different town action this time. We're staying in town. Okay, so we're doing a town action. What kind of town action do we want to do? Oh boy. I'm also looking at the board here to kind of see what I'm going to combo into depending on who I align with. I do have a map. A map can get me a peek at the next expedition card, which could be useful. This will move a building up the queue, but I don't have one in there yet, so I do want to get the building built. I think we're going to try to focus on the building. I think that's the first thing we're going to do, because we don't even have the meat to upgrade our inventory here. We have very little ways to acquire meat. I guess I could do this to acquire meat, but I'd almost rather just do that on the expedition. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get myself some workers. I really need workers. There's 2 in there. One's kind of crappy, but we're going to do it anyways. We're going to go there, and we are going to spend 5 coins. We'll see if this is something I regret. I'm going to take both dice. I know this one's really bad, 1 pip. I'm only going to get to use it once, and it's going to go back. But I kind of just want it. I want to be able to do some stuff. We'll learn the value of these dice as we go. Maybe that wasn't worth it, but for now I have the money. I'm going to spend it and do it. So that is our town action. Time to go to our character action. First thing we're going to do is increase stock. Oh, and that's right. I do have to align with one of these. And because I took both dice, I can choose who I align with. Okay, if I can choose who I align with, then I think I am going to align with these sprites. And I'm going to take myself a compass, like so. Boom, boom, boom. And that means that we get to do this action down here. I could cash in the map for 5 gold, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cash in the map to take a peek at the next expedition card so I can properly plan for what's coming ahead. So we're going to cash in this map, and we are going to flip this card over. We get to look at it. Now it doesn't stay here. We have to shuffle it back in, but we shuffle it back in face up. So it can come up face up, and then we can kind of see what expeditions are coming. So we got ourselves a bounty, which needs traps, progress, and workers. Okay, so we're going to shuffle this in now. I'm not going to look, so I can't possibly get that card to show up where I want it. If it shows up on top, I promise it was just luck. I'm not cheating. There we go. It's not on top. It's not on top. Okay, so we're going to do that. Get ourselves a little bit more prepped. So I do have worker dice now, which means I can take these worker actions. What worker actions do for the ranger is I can place these dice into specific spots. Only the sprite dice can go into the blue area, and only the villager die can go to the orange area. This middle one can hold either one. If I place a die there, I reduce the count on the die by 1 pip. So if it's at 1, it goes to a blank face. If it's 3, like the sprite one, it'll go to 2. And I'm going to be able to take another increased stock action and gain the stock for some of these tools, which I do need these tools, so I'm going to do this. I'm going to move this one up here. I'm going to reduce this die face to 2. I'm going to take myself an axe because I need an axe. And then I'm also going to go over here, reduce this die face down to nothing. That one is gone. To take the rifle for the last tool that I'm missing. I have a nice big stock now, and I am officially done the workers action. So now when we go to the dusk phase, we're going to take our ranger. He's going to come right on back here to go to bed. Maybe I should lie him down if he's going to bed. He sleeps with his gun. It's yeah, I'm not. That's all I'm going to say about that. We go and we put this die back in our dice wall because there's still 2 pips on it. This one is blank, which means we got to roll it. Again, another 1, and we got to put that back here, and that is now available at the tower. Not great. I need a higher villager die, that's for sure. And that is going to be the end of dusk phase. So he wakes on up. We go back to dawn. It's time to draw another weather card. What do we got today? The weather is going to be cloudy. It's going to be cloudy, folks. And we do this. I was going to swear. I was going to swear because I missed so many of these building queue actions. I want to get something built. I need to just stop saying I want to do it and do it. Okay. Now I'm going to the town action. I think today is the day. I'm going to do this one right here. And I'm going to do that so I can spend 5 gold. Let's cash in 5 gold. And where do we want to free up some spot in Mythwind? What do we think? We have the longhouse here by the shore. You know what? Let's do it up here on the hill. No, you know what? That's got to be reserved for something special. Let's do it over here. I like this little spot right here. So we're gonna do this, and we actually get a bonus. So there is a bonus that you get whenever you clear one of these areas of land. You discover new land. In this case, the bonus is I get to increase the pip count on one of the dice in my dice well. The reason the hand's there is that's the dice well. If the hand wasn't there, it would be the tower. So I get to increase this back to 3, which is actually pretty handy. And this is gone, so we can toss that over there. Now we have a free spot over here, number 9. We can build tomorrow if we want. That's it for the town action. Let's go into the character action. We got to take stock of something. Let us take stock of... Oof. What do I think I want 2 of? Let's take the compass. Is that what I want? No, I don't want the compass. I want the trap. Because the trap is going to get me the ability to cash in one of these furs, boots with the furs, and also 1 of anything, which will be the trap, and I can take 2 of anything. Let's take a compass and let's take a trap. Let's do that. We have a nice big stock here. We really have to go on an expedition very soon, if not tomorrow, the day after for sure. And now I can use my die if I want. I don't know if there's anything I want to use my die for. I think I'd rather just keep it. Keep it for the expedition. That's going to be it. So we're going to head on back. We're laying back down. We're going to sleep. He wakes up. Oh, God. He wakes up. We go to dawn. What's the weather going to be like today? Well, it's sunny. That's what the weather's going to be like. And we are getting close to hitting... Oh, I just knocked him over. We're getting close to hitting this one. If the next day's cloudy, we would have an increase to the building queue, which is making me think I want to build on the chance that happens. Maybe I build today, and then I explore. I go on the expedition tomorrow. That's what we're going to do. We're going to build today. Let's build. we need to grab ourselves either a trading post or a general store. So let's look at our options here. So our options here are the general store and the trading post. Now this is the constructed side. So the constructed side is going to tell me what their abilities are. I can spend 3 gold at the general store to take another character action, which is really another series of character actions, which is really good. This will align me with either the sprites or the villagers. This one will align me with the sprites of the villagers as well. This one lets me spend 2 coins and any resource from the track over here to gain another resource of any kind, which is good as well. They're both good. The back side here, which is what we need to focus on, is the cost. So the 1 to 2 player cost is the first one. That's what we care about. Right now, I can't afford this general store. I do not have the right resources, but I can afford the trading post. And they both go in building Q1. I think I'm just going to have to do the trading post. And the effect down here is when it's completed, you're going to get the bonus effect. So yeah, we're going to do the trading post. Let's build ourselves a trading post. I think that's what we got to do. And we are going to build it right over here. Oh, actually, we're not building it. We got to spend these resources. So we are putting food down to 0. We are putting income down. Actually, no, sorry. Food is not going down. Oh yeah, that's culture. I just called it food and it's culture. We're putting this down to 0. Basically, everything's going down to 0 except for food. Food's the only thing not going down. Okay, and we have the trading post, and this goes into building slot 1, which means we're putting it right there. The next time this gets advanced, which will hopefully be really soon, that's going to get built. Beautiful. Now we have to do our character action. So our character action for the day is going to be taking another one of these tools. What do I want? I think I want, I know it looks like I have a lot, but remember my inventory is limited to 4, so I don't have a lot that I can take with me. I'm just kind of getting myself prepped for the future. Let's take another axe. Yeah, let's take another axe. Because meat is something I do need to upgrade my inventory, so it'd be nice to have the axe. We'll put that like so in my stock. Okay, now we are going to take the appropriate action here. We can cash this in for 2 gold. I'm now getting a little low on gold. Do I want to do that? No, but I will cash this in. Oh, I need 2 of them. Oh, so close. So close. You know, I'm going to keep it. I'm going to keep it because if I can get 2, then maybe I can eventually do that. So we're not going to do any of that. We are going to, I guess I should have put him here. Let's pretend he was here the entire time. He was on this space. He was doing his action. Now we got to come back. We're going to go to sleep. And we are going to head into the next day where we are for sure going to go on an expedition. I'm really excited about this. So I'm going to just declare it now. I know I haven't been doing this where I put this on the town every time, but I'm declaring it. We're going to expedition, but we're going to draw a weather card first. Weather card is rain. It is rain, which means we do not get a bonus effect here. Oh, if that had been cloudy, we would have built the trading post. I'm really upset though that didn't happen. All right, so we do have to take another event card though, because the weather event, or the weather today, did trigger an event card, and this is the fairies. Fairies aren't as reclusive as other sprites because they can fly. They live high up amidst the treetops. Getting up there is going to take some special climbing equipment that must be built from scratch. As your group climbs, the fairies flit around, laughing and encouraging you. By the time you reach the top, you expect to find the fairies impressed by your efforts, but instead, they're nowhere to be seen. We have to reduce the pip on this die to 0, which is actually kind of good because it means we're going to have to roll it at the end, so that's not a huge deal. If culture is your highest resource, which it is not, shuffle in event 50, otherwise shuffle in event 51. Set this card aside. When you have resolved events 4 to 7, shuffle in event 8. So we're setting it aside so we know when we've resolved them all. So I will set it aside, but we have to shuffle in event 51 because we're not cultured. If we were cultured, we'd shuffle in a completely different event. So I'm gonna grab event 51. Okay, event is done. This is not triggering. We are going on the expedition, and we're heading into the expedition phase. So daytime expedition phase, super exciting. First thing we're gonna do is we're gonna determine if it's gonna be light or short. We're gonna stay on light. We didn't beat light last time. I feel like we need to beat light before we start going up to other difficulties. So we're gonna do 2 from the level 1 deck and 1 from, oh, there's the face up one. If we're just shy of it, we can prepare for the next expedition. We are going to take these, we're going to shuffle them up, shuffle up 3 cards, which is hard to not mentally keep track of where I'm moving them. And then we're going to line them all up here. So we're going to pull all this stuff down temporarily. This is all my stock. And it's going to go 1, 2, 1. Okay, so it's a little bit different this time. So that's our expedition. We're going to put him on the first expedition. We have to determine how many, or we can only bring 4. Which 4 items are we going to bring? But we need to bring a compass. We know that. What else do we want to bring besides a compass? I mean, if we get that far, we're going to need these things. So I think we bring those 3, and then I think we bring a progress one as well. Oh, do we not seriously not bring a trap? Oh, I think we do bring a trap. Yeah, okay, let's try this. So these will all stay in my stock, including the wood. I'm gonna just put this off to the side right now. I know it's not right in my stock, but I just wanna use this area here.
Okay, so I've laid out my expedition here. We've got 1, 2, 1. We've placed our ranger here on the very first spot. So we selected our four tools. We're gonna bring a compass, a rifle, an axe, because we see that there's going to be a need for those, and I'm also just going to throw in a trap in there because why not? And now what we're going to do, because each card is going to have its own set of encounters that I got to kind of prepare for. I'm going to start with the compass. Let's put the trap in there. Let's do this. Let's try this. Again, a lot of this is kind of luck, and see how prepared we could be. When we have more inventory, this is going to be a lot easier. But let's start with that. Okay, let's explore. I'm excited. A new route. Okay. This isn't bad. Okay, so the very first thing we need to do is we need to check the weather effect. It is not cloudy, which means that's not taking effect. It would have let us rearrange. It actually would be really useful. Unfortunately, can't do that. But this first one is actually going to be about spending a pip on these dice. So we actually do have one in our supplier. Good thing we kept this. We're going to reduce this to 2 as so. I'll just put it there for now just to show. And then I am paying it. I've reduced it to 2, and that means that we get to divert the path. Now, diverting the path is interesting. That means that we look and we see another 2 and a 1 here. We grab another 2 and another 1, which is the face-up one, and the path diverts. We now have the option to keep on the same path, or we can divert to the other path. Interesting. And because I can see what the bounty is here, I know that I'll be able to do that dice. I know I'll be able to do that trap. I don't have a progress, but I could get a progress there. I think I am going to divert. I'm going to go here, which means that we get rid of these go back, I'll shuffle them after, and now we are diverting to this path. Let's try it. I feel like maybe this will pay off. All right, next expedition, compass. We do have a compass, so we are going to cash that in. Unfortunately, we are not prepared because the compass is not in the 2nd position, so we don't get the preparation bonus, but we do get a map. So we're going to flip this over, we get ourselves a map, and then we go on to the next expedition, which costs an axe. We don't have an axe in the 3rd position. Or sorry, we do now. This moves.
It shouldn't move.
We do have an axe in the 3rd position. This is perfect. So now we do get a bonus of a compass because we are prepared. A compass slots itself in right in the end there. And we get ourselves some really valuable wood, which comes down here. And now we've got ourselves 3. As we head on to the next day, we're going to rest. This goes back to our well. And we rest and we go to the next dawn phase, which is going to be another weather card. And it is the final weather card of the season, which means we are nearing the end of the game and the end of spring. This is a sun card, and it does bring with it an event. Let's read one final event, shall we? Rock golems. Rock golems are rumored to live in caves and ravines. Strange rock formations are an indication that rock golems have been at work. While exploring the hills, rock golems appear behind your group. They wordlessly watch you build rock cairns, observing how you work together as a team. If the current value of all sprite dice is greater than the value of... Oh, I should have re-rolled this. I guess now we're going to find out. Oh, you're killing me. You're killing me. You're just killing me. So it's no longer the greater than the value of the villagers. Shuffle in event 53. Otherwise, shuffle in event 52. I'm going to grab that right now. We're going to shuffle that in, and it says, set this card aside. When you've resolved events 4 to 7, shuffle in event 8. We do know we have that going on. We already have 6. This is number 7. And it says shuffle adventures 11 to 20 into the adventure deck. That's super exciting. We got a whole bunch of new adventures. So these are all shuffled now, like so. This is over here to indicate that we have 6 and 7, 2 more before we hit that stipulation. And we are going to shuffle in adventure cards 11 to 20. As you can see, like, not much gets done each day, and so in a season, there's so much that doesn't get seen, doesn't get done. There's a reason this game doesn't really have an ending, it just goes on forever. You can keep exploring and finding new things. It's going to take you a long time to kind of see it all. Okay, that is it for the event card. We are heading off onto this expedition. Let's reveal it. Let's see how we're gonna do here. Okay, we have ourselves a rifle. It's not in the first position. That's okay. I'm gonna cash it in. We get ourselves some really valuable meat. We need this to upgrade our inventory. Super happy we got that. Next one is a backpack. We don't have a backpack. That's real bad. Oh, you know what? I forgot to do the weather effect. The weather effect, it is sunny, and so we do get ourselves an X, like so. I don't know that that's gonna matter. No, it might. Okay, so we don't have the backpack. So we do not have the backpack, but there's actually no penalty associated with this. So the expedition goes on. We don't have anything go wrong. We go on to the rifle. We don't have the rifle either. There is no penalty for not having a rifle. We go on to the trap, and the trap we do have. It's not in the right position, so there's actually no preparation bonus. So we just get ourselves some fur, and we have completed that expedition. We're getting really low on our inventory. It's not looking super great, but we're still alive. That's what matters. So we are gonna slide on down here. We are going to rest. We didn't have to use our dice.
So normally we would continue on to the last stage of this expedition by going on to the next day, doing the dawn phase and everything. But if you ever reach the dusk phase and the weather deck is empty, it means it's time to go to the next season, which means we have to do a whole bunch of end of season actions. We are going to get to stay on this expedition, but it's going to change to summer while we're out there on the road. So very first thing we need to do is we need to check if we had any end of season actions on the board. Now we don't. There would be other buildings out here that will eventually have this little calendar icon. That means that there's end of season actions. We don't have any, we can skip that step. Next thing we need to do is prepare the new weather deck. So I took all the weather cards and I've shuffled them, and we have a brand new weather deck for summer that'll be our timer to see how long summer lasts. We're going to put that right in there. We are going to take this tile and we are going to change it to summer. So we have a new set of weather effects. We are in summer now, and the last thing we need to do is that we have to check our goal cards. So I didn't even mention goal cards. But every single season is going to have a goal that you can try to complete. It gives you benefits if you can complete it. Not always going to be achievable. In this case, even though it was pretty easy, I didn't really find opportunities to increase my food. So, I mean, I could have here, but it costs 10 gold. So I only have one food. Food must be 2 or higher for me to meet my objective, which is large harvest. And I didn't meet my objective. So if I had, I would have gained culture and I would have shuffled a new gold card into the deck. But instead, I'm just going to lose 5 gold. So I've already taken that 5 gold. I put it in there. I'm down to 2 gold now. I'm very, very poor. And that is it. That is a Mythwind. Now, I say that's it. That's it for this session. I would love to continue and do more of this, especially because we're in the middle of an expedition that I would love to continue here and do more of. But I need you guys to take to the comments and let me know if this is something you loved, if this is something you like seeing, if you really enjoy these solo playthroughs, especially with this sort of like moody atmosphere where we burn through complete candles almost over the course of multiple hours of shooting here on my end. It's come together in a much shorter package for you guys. Lots of production here. So it takes a lot of work to do these kind of videos. So if this is something you do want to see more of, hit that like button or go into the comments and let me know specifically that you like this series, you want to see more Mythwind. I'm happy to keep doing more of it. I'm having a lot of fun with it. And more than that, if you want to see me explore other games in this kind of style of video, I can, beyond Mythwind, there's a bunch of campaign games I've wanted to get to the table, but I can't really afford to have more groups that I'm getting together for. I already have a Frosthaven group. I have an Oathsworn group that I've neglected to get together in a long time. I can't start venturing into having more groups, but I would love to do solo playthroughs because I do have time to do those. And even though it's a lot of production, it's a lot of fun too. And I think these videos are something that, you know, some of you will like. So if you do, take to the comments, let me know so that, and also let me know feedback. Let me know what you really loved about it. What are some things you didn't, some things I could change in between. There will be a bit of a gap between episodes here because I will need another day of production to be able to do this. And so I do have time to sort of read the comments, read the feedback, and see, you know, what I can implement. And even if I don't, between when they get the feedback and when that next video comes out, it's something I can take into effect in the future. So yeah, let me know anything. I would love to kind of have a conversation. This is new to me too, doing these kind of solo playthroughs. I've had a lot of fun. I hope you have too. This has been Mythwind, and I will see you in the next episode.